So then we have discussed about sine or cos. When the right hand side function is sine of ax plus b or cos of ax plus b, then the keyword for the replacement is what? We are replacing d square by minus times a square. This is very important thing. We are replacing d square by minus a square. Let me write the formula again. That is particular integral is 1 upon phi of d uh, sine of ax plus b. Then what we have to do, first of all, we have to get d square in the denominator. If d square is there, then directly we can replace it by minus a square. But if it is not, then by suitable mathematical processes like rationalization, we can get the d square and then replace. Okay, replace d square by minus a square. So that is equals to 1 upon phi of minus a square into sine of ax plus b. Okay, and the similar formula for cos is there. For the cos also, we are replacing d square by minus a square. We have discussed 2 to 3 examples also. Okay, let us now proceed with the third case. I hope everyone is clear about the second. If any doubt in the second case, please let me know so that we can have one more example. Or if no doubt, then we can proceed with the next step.
No, sir.
Yes, sir, we
Okay.
can go to the next.
Okay. So when fx, the right hand side function, is hyperbolic function of the form hyperbolic sine ax or hyperbolic cos ax. I hope everyone knows the hyperbolic functions. What are hyperbolic functions? Actually, do you know sine and cos?
Trigonometric functions defined on a hyperbola.
Right, right, exactly. One more thing, that sine and cos, this sine and cos in second case, normal sine and cos are the circular functions, because when we square and add them, we will get the identity 1, is it? And that is actually, we can correlate with the unit circle, equation of unit circle, isn't it? So that is why sine and cos are called the circular functions. So similarly, if we square and subtract these two, is it? Then we will get the equation of hyperbola. That is why these are called the hyperbolic functions. Okay, and we can have the exponential forms of these hyperbolic functions. Even we can have the exponential forms of these circular functions also. Sine and cos we can represent in terms of exponential function. But in that case, I will be involved, isn't it? I means imaginary. But here, in case of hyperbolic functions, sine hyperbolic ax can be written in terms of exponential, that is e to the power ax minus e to the power minus ax upon 2. Please correct if I'm wrong. Okay, and hyperbolic cos ax is e to the power ax plus e to the power minus ax upon 2. Clear? Similarly, we can have the exponential forms of this sine and cosine also. So when we write exponential forms of sine and cosine, then we can use the first case only. I hope uh, the point is clear, that when we can when we write sine and cosine in terms of exponential, we can use the first case. But we are not preferring that, as we have directly have the substitution uh, as a d square by minus a square. Excuse me. So here, just like the sine and cosine case, what we did, we have taken the successive derivatives of sine, that is d of sine is cos, then d square of sine is minus of sine, is it? So alternate plus minus signs we are getting. That is why we have generalized the result to phi of d square by minus times a square replacement. So if we follow the same procedure for hyperbolic functions, then we can have the substitution like replace d square by plus a square. So from this I can write the formula for particular integral. Hence Therefore, pi is equals to 1 upon phi of d f of x. So if I take f of x to be hyperbolic sine, then 1 upon phi of d hyperbolic sine. But as the criteria is for d square, we should get first of all d square in the denominator, right? So therefore, which can be written equals to, we replace d square by plus a square. So that is 1 upon phi at a square hyperbolic sine ax. That's it. Provided that this should not be the case of failure. Means what? Denominator must be non-zero.
Not equal to 0.
Yes. But if it is 0, then that is called a case of failure. It is if phi of a square is equal to 0, then it is case of failure. And hence, in case of failure, what we do? We multiply the operator, that is 1 upon phi of d square hyperbolic sine ax. We will multiply this operator by independent variable. So here the independent variable is x. So x into 1 upon, we differentiate the operator with respect to d. So phi dash of d square, okay, and into that we replace d square by plus a square. Provided that phi dash of a square must be non-zero dash. So we have to continue the process till and until we get the non-zero denominator. So if phi dash is again 0, then we will multiply this operator by one more x. Clear? So the previous x and this x will be x square, and the derivative of denominator here, that will be phi double dash, and into that we replace d square by plus a square, and so on. Is this point clear to everyone? That is only the thing in this method.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here the point is, sometimes according to the difficulty level of question, sometimes the question is getting difficult by replacing d square by plus a square. So in that case, we can have their exponential forms of sine and cosine, hyperbolic sine and cosine, and then we can use the first case, because the first case is related to exponential function. Clear? So we'll discuss the both questions on both of these. So the first question is solve dq by dx cube question 1. Solve d cube or d3y by dx cube minus 4 dy by dx equals to 2 into hyperbolic cos x. Hyperbolic cos 2x actually. Yeah. So its solution is again, as the right hand side is non-zero. See, if the right hand side is 0 directly, then its complementary function is nothing but the general solution. But as the right hand side is, sorry, if the right hand side is 0, then the complementary function is only the solution, and that is called the general or complete solution. But if the right hand side is non-zero, then we can have the complementary function as well as particular integral. Remember, so here the right hand side is non-zero, So we have to find both CF and PI. So what is the CF here? Yes, everyone can try. To find CF, we consider the homogeneous differential equation. That is, first of all, we introduce an operator capital D there. So that will be of the form d cube minus 4d times y equals to 2 times hyperbolic cos 2x. Okay. So its homogeneous differential equation is d cube minus 4d times y equals to 0. Isn't it? So this is actually homogeneous differential equation, because as we all know that the solution of homogeneous differential equation is nothing but the complementary function. And to find the solution, we consider its auxiliary equation. What is the auxiliary equation of this? That is d cube minus 4d equal to 0. And what are the roots of auxiliary equation? Here, if I take d common, then that will be d square minus 4 is equal to 0.
2 and minus 2.
So 2 and minus 2 are the only roots?
0.
As yes,
0 also.
0. So
0.
d equal to 0 and d square is equal to 4. That is plus minus 2. So with these roots, the roots are real and distinct. The complementary function is CF is equal to, see, the order of root is not important. Huh? You can take minus 2 or plus 2 or 0. So if I take 0 first, then c1 e to the power 0x, that is 1. E raised to 0x is 1. So c1 plus c2 e to the power minus 2x plus c3 e to the power plus 2x. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So this is about the complementary function. Now to get the particular integral, if we go, see, we can even solve this, or we can have the particular integral with the help of general method, because it is general. So we can solve any question with the help of general method. But that is lengthier and integrations are involved. So we are avoiding as we have the shortcut. But that is not possible for all functions. So here the right hand side function is hyperbolic cos, and we have the shortcut for hyperbolic cos. Therefore, we can directly use that shortcut. So what is phi of d here? It is d cube minus 4d, and f of x is 2 into hyperbolic cos 2x. Clear? So what the method says? What the method says? Replace
D square by
d square by plus a square. Please don't get confused in normal sine and cos and hyperbolic sine and cos. In normal sine and cos, we are replacing d square by minus a square. And here in hyperbolic functions, we are replacing d square by plus a square. Plus a square. Okay. So here, replace d square by plus a square. What is a here? A is 2. Right. So that is equals to, as d square is not there here, but I can represent right d cube in terms of d square, that is d into d square minus 4d to hyperbolic cos 2x. So when I replace d square by plus a square, that is 4, it will be a case of failure, isn't it? Because 4d minus 4d will be 0. Is this clear to everyone? So that is a case of failure. We can write here case of failure. And hence we all know that in case of failure, what we do? We multiply the operator, this operator, by independent variable. So what is independent variable here? X. So x into 1 upon derivative of this phi. Is the derivative? That is 3d square minus 4 into 2 hyperbolic cos 2x. Now here, since d is involved in the denominator, we can use the case, and the case is replace d square by this d square plus a square. So that is equals to x into 1 upon 3 into 4, that is 2 square is 4 minus 4. So that is how much it is? 12 minus
X by
2 by 8, that is x by 4, right?
Yes.
And that is your final. As we can see here, d is completely eliminated to the particular integral, so that is our correct particular integral. Provided that you should be confident about the calculations. So, and therefore the complete solution, or it is also called general solution, is y is equal to cf plus pi, that is c1 plus c2 e to the power minus 2x plus c3 e to the power 2x plus x by 4 hyperbolic cos 2x. Clear to everyone? You can see the whole solution. Please ask if any doubt. If we go by exponential way, we should get the same particular integral. Shall we try by exponential form, so that you will get the idea how to use? Hello? Okay, let me write, and then that will be a homework for you, because you people are not replying, so that will be a punishment. Okay, so alternate method, let me write here, alternate method. So that t cube minus 4d times y equals to 2 into hyperbolic cos 2x. So I can represent this hyperbolic cos in terms of exponential. How do I write? That is equals to 2 into, yes, e to the power
2x.
2x plus e to the power minus 2x upon 2. Okay, so this 2 will get cancelled, and that is equals to e to the power 2x plus e to the power minus 2x. So can you solve this now further using the first case? Will
Yes,
it be
sir.
okay to everyone? Okay,
Yes, sir.
so that is a homework for you. Use the exponential case. What we are doing in exponential, we just replace d by plus a, and provided that denominator must be non-zero. That should not be the case of failure. Any doubt in the third shortcut?
No, sir.
Okay. Now the next is case 4. When fx is a polynomial function of the form x raised to m, where x is independent variable. Okay, so that independent variable can be anything. If the right hand side function is a polynomial function, right hand side function means which right hand side function? In the given linear differential equation with constant coefficient, if this right hand side function is a polynomial function, then we have a shortcut. So what is that shortcut? Let us write first of all formula. that is pi equals to 1 upon phi of d into f of x. Okay, sorry. So 1 upon phi of d f of x, isn't it? And when I replace fx by the right hand side function, so what I'll be getting here. So I'm going to write this phi of d, 1 upon phi of d, as a inverse differential operator. So I can write it as a phi inverse of d onto f of x, and that is x raised to m. So what I'm going to do now, this is very important step. Okay, the same thing we are going to do while solving the actual questions. I hope the screen is visible properly. Okay, so here this phi inverse of d, I'm going to express using these two expansion formulas. That is, let me write here, we expand phi inverse of d in ascending powers of d. Clear? And how do we expand? We have a standard formulas for the expansion. Suppose, okay, first of all, let me write the formulas of expansion, and then we can apply that formula. So the formula is, the first formula, 1 upon 1 plus p. Okay, you can replace p by x. So do you know the expansion formula of 1 upon 1 plus x? Can we represent this rational expression 1 upon 1 plus x or 1 upon 1 plus p in terms of infinite summation, infinite series?
Sir, we can
Yes.
write it as 1 plus p raised to minus 1. And then we can expand it
The whole,
by binomial
like
expansion.
this one you are seeing, just a minute, this one, 1 plus p to the power minus 1, right? And that is equals to,
Yes, sir.
using binomial expansion, correct? Very good. So a plus b raised to n, where a is 1, b is p, and n is minus 1. So using that expansion, but actually the standard expansion you know very well, and even you might have used 1 upon 1 plus x, that is equals to 1. See, increasing powers of this variable with alternate plus minus sign, 1 minus p
minus x.
plus p square, correct me if I am wrong, minus p cube plus and so on. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is the formula. When I replace p by x, then 1 upon 1 plus x का expansion क्या है? 1 minus x plus x square minus x cube plus and so on. And the similar expansion we have for 1 upon 1 minus p. That is 1 minus p inverse. And that is equals to what? All the terms are
1
positive.
plus
1 plus p square plus p cube plus and so on. Is this point clear to everyone? But these two formulas we can use if n is minus 1. If n is not minus 1, then we have to use the general binomial formula, that is a plus b raised to n. So let me write that formula for 1 plus x or 1 plus p to the power n. Yes, can you try? That is equals to, I'll have to start with nc0, right? Where n is n and nc0 is 1 into a raised to 0. 1 raised to 0 is 1, isn't it? So 1 plus nc1, है ना? p plus, yes, what the next, n into n minus 1 upon
2 factorial.
2 factorial p
2
square,
factorial.
isn't it? So this is a standard binomial formula for x is equal to 1 or a equal to 1 and b equal to p. Clear? So for example, that's
सर
it. This is all about.
थोड़ा ऊपर स्क्रॉल कीजिए 1 मिनट
Yes.
थोड़ा सा ओके
So this is all about this method. That's it. So once we get the expansion, and we will collect only the required terms from the expansion. Because why the required term? Let me clear this point. So first, uh, for example, if I have particular integral is simple, 1 upon say 1 plus d. Very simple. I'm taking, and that is operated on x square. Let us take x square. Yeah. So using the expansions above, I can directly write this 1 upon 1 plus d in terms of infinite terms. That is 1 minus d plus d square minus d cube plus and so on. Operator on x square. Is this point clear? Is this step clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
How I'm writing that operator? Okay, so from this now, if we observe, when I multiply by x square inside to each term, what I'll get 1 into x square minus d operated on x square. I always used to say operated on a. It is not multiplication, remember, because this is an operator. It will not have a separate sense without function, remember, isn't it? So
Yes, sir.
minus d of x square plus d square of x square minus d cube of x square plus and so on. Can you observe the important point here that after, when we exceed the power of d by the degree of polynomial, then we are getting the zero terms,
It will be
right?
0.
0, because d of x square is derivative of x square, that is 2x. D square of x square is d of 2x, that is 2. D cube of x square, that is
0.
0, right? So here we can see if the degree, if the polynomial is of degree 2, then its third order derivative and further all derivatives will be 0. Further all terms are getting 0. Is this point clear? Further all terms. So we are neglecting, or we are directly writing the non-zero terms here. So therefore, that will be x square minus 2x plus 2x square, and that's it. Am I right? This is 2. Sorry, this is 2, no? Sorry, this is just 2. And that is your final particular integral. Is this point clear? This is just an example. How do we operate that operator onto a polynomial function? Please ask if any doubt. Now you might be thinking that how do we get this 1? It is not necessary, na, that 1 will be there in the denominator all the time. So for that purpose, see, we can have the phi of d like this also, 1 upon d square plus 3d plus 4 and x square. So we don't have that form, right? 1 upon 1 plus something. So how do we get that form? Yes. So we have, see, again, for that there is no any standard method. Either we can have factored form of that phi of d, and by partial fraction we can separate those two factors, and then onto each operator we can multiply this function inside. Clear? Or the second method is we can take this constant term common to get 1, isn't it? So I can write this as a 1 upon 4 times 1 upon, so here we will be getting 1, I'm writing here, plus the rest upon, yes, this the whole upon 4. So I'm writing here, that is d square plus 3d upon 4. So is it of the form 1 upon 1 plus p? Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
So here p is d square plus 3d plus 4. And when I expand this, I should know that I'll have to consider the terms up to d square, because d cube and further all derivatives will be 0. So from all the terms, see, when I expand this, that will be 1 by 4 into 1 minus p, that is d square plus 3d by 4, this is p, plus p square, that is d square plus 3d plus by 4, minus, sorry, here it is square, minus d square cube plus and so on, and that is operated on x square. So we have to ensure from each of these expansions, from this, from this, that whether we have the non-zero terms. So from this, both the terms are non-zero, right? D square and d. From this, when I expand this, what I'll get? D raised to 4. That is neglected, right? We don't need to consider that term, because d raised to 4 operated on x square will be 0. Is this point clear to everyone? Hello.
Nice.
I hope you all are with me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So from each of these expansions, we have to consider non-zero terms. So that is equals to 1 by 4 into 1 minus d square by 4 minus 3 by 4 d, then plus, what is the non-zero term from this expansion? I think the last term is the only the non-zero term, right? It's last term, because
Yes.
a
3D
square plus twice ab also gives a d cube term, that is 0, and the last one is 3d by 4 the whole square, so that is 9 by 16 d square. Clear? Minus, in this also check which is the non-zero term, and that we need to consider here, and the whole will be operated on x square, and then take x square inside. That's it. This is what all about this method. Clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's take one more example which will clear the idea. Solve d2y by dx square minus dy by dx. Example, solve d2y by dx square minus dy by dx plus y equals to x square x cube minus 3x square plus 1. See, I hope you all have checked the questions I have uploaded on Google Classroom on the whole chapter. Okay, I think on the shortcut methods, I've uploaded the questions on each of these methods. Okay. In study material in Google Classroom. I don't know what the tab from your side, but I've uploaded. You just check those questions. You can have practice over those questions, and you can ask your doubts if any. So without loss of time, I hope everyone is now confident about the complementary function. So here the auxiliary equation is d square minus p plus is equal to 0. So what are the roots here? P equals to, yes, please check the roots. See, we can get the roots by quadratic formula, that is minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So that is 1 plus
1 by
minus
2 plus
1
root
by 2
3
plus or
by
minus
2i.
root 3i. Yes, so 1 by 2 plus root 3 by 2i. So here alpha is 1 by 2 and beta is root 3 by 2. The roots are complex. And we all know that the complementary function formula for the complex root is e to the power alpha. What is alpha here?
1
1 by 2.
upon 2.
So alpha times independent variable. What is independent variable here? X. Clear? See, I am always say that this X is not the independent variable all the time, remember, because students are have very much habitual about this X and Y. So they are not ensuring that whether the independent variable is X or other variable. They are directly writing the complementary function and particular integral in terms of X, irrespective of the given differential equation. So we have to check. So as it is X here, so that is why e to the power half into X into, yes, c1 cos beta. What is beta here?
Root 3 by 2.
Root 3 by 2 times x, beta x, plus c2 sine beta x, root 3 by 2 x. This the whole is an angle, okay? This is an angle. The complete is angle. X is not outside. So this is about the complementary function. What is particular integral? Pi is equals to 1 upon phi of d into f of x, substitute phi of d. Oh, it is already given one, so no problem. So directly operate where p is what? D square minus d. This is already in the form of 1 upon 1 plus p, right? Is
Yes.
this 1 upon, let me write in that form, 1 plus p, where p is d square minus d. X cube minus 3x square plus 1. And now expand this 1 plus, excuse me, 1 minus, no, sorry, minus cube plus and so on, and that is operated on x cube minus 3x square plus 1. Hello, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Let us now consider the non-zero terms. So 1 minus d square plus, because minus minus plus d. Now when we expand this, we will neglect the higher order terms. So here d square square will be d raised to 4, and our polynomial is of degree 3. So d raised to 4 and further derivatives will be 0, isn't it? Hello.
Only minus.
Yes, sir.
So only the last term will be there, that is
Minus d square.
Minus.
y minus, it will be plus, no?
Sir, plus
Yes,
d
sir.
square.
No, I think middle term will also be there, twice ab.
Yes, sir.
That is also non-zero because the degree is 3. So d cube term is non-zero. So minus 2 d cube
Minus 2
and plus d
plus
square.
d cube.
D square, na?
Yes.
Now from this cubic expansion, let's get the non-zero terms. I hope everyone know the a minus b cube formula. What is that? A cube minus 3 a square b plus 3 ab square minus b cube. I hope you all know the Pascal's triangle. Do you know Pascal's triangle? To get the expansion of any order? Do you know the Pascal triangle?
Sir.
Huh? Yes or no? Hello?
No, sir.
Okay. See, Pascal triangle gives, this is not in your syllabus, okay? Pascal triangle gives the expansion coefficient actually. Just like here the coefficients are 1, 3, 3, and 1. Irrespective of the sign, okay? So what the Pascal triangle is, we will start with 1. Then we will write 2 ones here. You might have seen definitely, I'm sure. Then 1 plus 1 is 2. And even we have a model also on Pascal triangle. So 1 plus 1 is 2, and then we again write 1. Then 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 1 is 3. Again we write 1. Again now 1 plus 3 is 1 plus 3 is 4. 3 plus 3 is 6. 3 plus 1 4. Again we write 1. Here also 1, and so on. Okay. So what are these? These are the coefficients in expansion. So this is the coefficient in the expansion of power equal to 0, a plus b raised to 0. This is the coefficient in expansion of power to be 1. These are the coefficient in the expansion of power to be 2. You can check. These are the coefficient in the expansion of power to be 3 or the degree 3. These are the coefficient in expansion of degree to be. Is this point clear? So if it is minus, then we have to consider alternates plus minus sign. That's it. So this is very important, and why it is called Pascal triangle, because Pascal have invented, and it is a triangular or a triangular shape. That is why it is called a Pascal's triangle. Hello. Is it uninteresting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry. Mistakenly have muted. Any doubt? यहाँ तक clear है सबको?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That is operated on x cube minus 3x square plus 1. Let us now simplify the expression last step. 1 minus, this will get cancelled, right? Even minus 2d cube minus minus plus d cube will be minus 2d cube plus d cube will be minus d cube. Is this okay? Check the signs, okay? Check the calculations. X cube minus 3x square plus 1. And when I multiply by polynomial inside, 1 into that polynomial is polynomial itself, x cube minus 3x square plus 1 plus d of this polynomial, that is derivative of polynomial. Let me write here. D of x cube minus 3x square plus 1 and minus d cube of x cube minus 3x square plus 1. So that is equals to x cube minus 3x square plus 1 plus, what is the derivative of this? 3x square minus 6x minus, what is d cube? It is 6x minus 6. So d cube is 6, I think, right?
6, yes.
6. So that is equals to x cube, this will get cancelled.
minus 6x plus 1.
Minus
Minus
6x minus 5. And therefore, finally, the general solution y is equal to cf plus pi. Because in pi, d is completely eliminated from. So that is what all about the case 4. You can take a look over the solution and you can ask your doubts if any. I'm expecting replies from everyone. If you are able to get the things, then also you need to reply. And if you are not able to get the things, please reply. Get the doubts clear. Everyone. Yeah, you can use the chat box also. I don't have any problem. Just I need replies. Shall we proceed with the next one? Case number 5.
Yes, sir.
Case number 5 says when fx is the combination of exponential and a function of x e raised to ax into v, where v is a function of x, like sine x or hyperbolic sine x or even a polynomial function also, then we can have a shortcut. Actually, v is that function whose shortcut we know. If v is, or if it is not possible to proceed with shortcut by v, then we cannot use this method. So what this method says, we can have a formula directly by taking successive derivative, just like sine and exponential, that is d of e raised to ax into v. That is, since both are the functions of x, we can use the product rule of differentiation, isn't it? Likewise, so I'm directly giving the formula. Particular integral is equals to 1 upon phi of d e to the power ax into v can be written as, this is very important step, huh? Most of the students doing mistake while writing this. So what we have to do, we have to take this exponential function outside the operator. So when I take outside the operator e to the power ax, there will be a change in this d. So what that change? 1 upon phi of d plus a, and that is operated on v. Okay, and now don't involve this exponential function inside the operator. Now we have to proceed according to v further. इसका काम हो गया, इसका काम था d को रिप्लेस करना d plus a से. So what the keyword here? Replace d by d plus a. Is this clear to everyone, the formula? Hello, hello, mic check.
Yes, sir.
Good. Or if you want me to prove this formula, I can prove, huh? Because I don't want actually I don't want to waste the time. But if you want, I can explain the proof also. Okay, but that is very easy by taking successive derivatives, like d of d of e raised to x into v, then d square of e raised to x into v, then d cube, and then you can generalize, you will get the same one. Let us apply this formula or question. Solve. D cube minus 4d plus 3. Let us take d square here, okay? D square. D square minus 4d plus 3 times y equals to e to the x square into e to the power 2x. X square into e to the power 2x. So, what is this, its complementary function? Can you tell me the roots?
P comma 1.
Yes, 1 and 3 are the roots, because when we use the splitting middle term method, we know that we have to get the two numbers whose multiplication is 3 and addition is minus 4. So what are those two numbers whose multiplication is 3? 1 and 3. And we want their addition to be minus 4. So minus 1 and minus 3 are the two numbers. So using those two numbers, we can write the factors, that is d minus 1 and d minus 3 is equal to 0. So this will gives d equals to 1 and 3. And therefore, the complementary function is c1 e to the power x plus c2 e to the power 2x. Actually, HOD sir is calling to me. Just a minute. You please try the particular integral. Just a second. Just try the particular integral.